Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Riffin with Griffin. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With Riffin with Griffin. All right, y'all. Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. I'm back from Cabo. I went to Adam Devine's wedding. It was fabulous. So on this episode, we're going to talk about the wedding. We're going to talk about destination weddings. I'm going to talk about Uber and Lyft. I want to briefly talk about that John Gruden situation, the Raiders coach. I want to talk about a Chappelle special, and we have a similar joke and, you know, all that. But welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, yeah. Riffin with Griffin. Woo, my silky voice. I feel my silky voice is back, y'all. Silky voice is back. Okay, first of all, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining Riffin with Griffin once again. For the people looking on YouTube, as you can see, I got this beautiful background. This is my hotel room in Cabo. It was so beautiful. But if you would like to send me a picture that you would like to have as a background, and I really got some great pictures from people actually, so I'm gonna try to incorporate them. I might have to use more than one per episode. But this is like, if you're listening right now, you got to go watch it on YouTube too, because I got this beautiful setting, and I have another great picture with Rachel on the beach. But anyway, this is the one that we're using for this episode right now, Riffin with Griffin. And thanks for watching, and make sure you also check me out on Twitch. That's Erik Griffin Gaming on Twitch. I do that pretty much daily, and so you can check me out there. Make sure you follow Erik Griffin Gaming. So thanks for being a part of that. And again, thanks for being here, guys. Today's episode, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Well, whatever. We're going to talk about the Cabo wedding. I'm going to talk about Uber. I'm going to talk about John Gruden, Chappelle, and I'm gonna do a recap of a movie I saw on the plane, Fast and the Furious 9. So make sure you stick around for that, because that was something else. But first, as you can see, if you're watching, you can see this beautiful setting. Oh man, Adam Devine, my buddy from Workaholics, he invited me to his wedding, and it was a destination wedding. And it was at this beautiful resort in Cabo. I feel so, we just got back yesterday, and I got to say, I really feel good. I mean, going on a vacation is important. You know what I mean? And, so I'm going to talk about going on vacation. I want to talk about destination weddings and all that. Okay. So first going on a vacation. Okay. Well, let's talk about that. Going on a vacation. Listen, guys, everybody's at different levels of money and all this kind of stuff. All right. So, but I suggest you try to find a way to go on a vacation. And it doesn't even, like, a buddy of mine's married, and he's got like 2 kids. He makes a good living, but he's frugal. So what he might do is, like, he lives in LA. So he might go to like Orange County, and there's this hotel that has a lot of like kids stuff. So what he does is he might go rent a hotel room for 2 days, and then his kids get to play, and he's just away from work, and he's just relaxed. It's affordable, but it's a form of vacation. It's a form of shutting down, and I think that's important. Shut your mind down. Don't think about work. Don't think about whatever. You're just on a rest and relaxation. So I know not everybody can go to Cabo. I get that. I can. I'm not going to apologize for that. All right. It is what it is. But any other vacation you might want to go to, like even if it's like a cruise ship, it was a very affordable vacation, or you could find something that's nearby. It's just, just at all levels. But I want to use a number. You have to decide like what you want to do with your money is really what it is. I think you should save up for vacations, no matter who you are, but at whatever walks of life. Save up for a vacation, whether it be $1,000, whether it be $10,000. Save up for a vacation, and then you got to decide how you want to spend the money. I'm in LA, so going to Cabo, it's not as expensive, plane ride. So then you can spend more money on the vacation stuff there. So let's say, and this is not for everybody. I'm just using this as a number. So let's say you're saving up $10,000 to go on a vacation. There's just two of you. If there's kids, it's a different thing. But I'm just saying, if you're if you're like in a relationship, or you're newly married, or you don't have kids yet, I'm speaking to these people because this is what I relate to. So let's say you're saving $10,000. All right, you got to decide what you want to do with your money. And I'm trying to figure out now, like I've been to Costa Rica before, and that's an affordable trip. Okay, so for instance, I'm just saying, what are you gonna spend your money on? Let's say you want to go to Tahiti, you want to go to, you want to go to something exotic like that, Bora Bora. You want to go to something like that, or you want to go to some I love beach vacations, so that's my thing. I'm a beach vacation guy. I don't like being in cities because all cities are the same. I went to New Zealand one year, and I was like, what? I was like, this looks like LA. And so I was like, you know what? Why am I wasting all this money to come to a place that's just a city? So I don't like cities unless it has some old timey feel. Like some places you go in Europe, you're like, okay, you got the history, the culture. That's the thing about Europe because it's so old. Like you might want to go to Paris and you're going to see all that Paris-y stuff, or you might want to, you know what I mean? So it's like, it depends on what you want to do. If you're going for like you're doing a museum tour or some kind of history tour for yourself, or you just want to see the beauty of the city, I don't care about that stuff. Me, I'm about being on a beach. That's just me. So we're going to talk about how, if you're a beach person too, this is the thing you got to think about. So let's say you want to go to Bora Bora or someplace like that. Now you got to think about the plane tickets because that's going to be a lot of the money. I'm not flying coach. Sorry, I'm 6'3". I'm not going to be on a 10-hour flight in coach. So I got to spend more money on business class tickets or first class tickets, whatever it might be. So of my $10,000 I might spend on my vacation, now it's like, it might be up to $3,000 a ticket. So that's $6,000 gone. Now you're talking about where you're going to stay. Is it going to be $300 a night, $400 a night, plus food? Is it going to be all inclusive? You have to figure that out amongst the rest of the money you have left, which would be $4,000. Might be a great vacation. Sounds great, right? And you figure out what the cost. Some people might be like, you only got $5,000 and you still want to go to Tahiti, but you're gonna fly coach. And when you fly coach to anywhere, it's actually affordable if you've saved up money for your vacation. But for me, I need to go like that. I want to go bougie. Okay, I'm bougie like that, but I ain't rich. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I have to say, I do save up. I put money aside like this is my vacation money, and then we're going to go on vacation. So I did that for this. I knew I was going on this destination wedding, and it was like, whatever. Okay. All right. So if you're going to go to Bora Bora, it's going to be all. Now, you might not stay at like the top level resort because you spend all your money on plane tickets. You might, because there might be a place that could be $500 a night, $700 a night. Sounds like a lot, but when you get there and you see the $700 a night room and whatever is included in that, it might be worth it. You might be like, oh, wow, there's a hot tub in the room like we had. Look at this picture. There was a hot tub right there, right in our room. The beautiful view. The room was spectacular. It just was so comfortable and relaxing. You opened the blinds and it was just like this beautiful beach view. So, you might think, well, I want that. That's going to cost you more. You might, again, I think if you go to a place where it's like, is the room service included? Because I went to Costa Rica one year and everything was like the meals were included and you could call room service 24 hours a day and that was part of your service. That stuff's important because food is expensive when you want on these vacations because you have to count that in too. You got the room per night and you got the food you have to pay for it because it's all going to be expensive. You're on vacation. So you got to decide that. But I'm starting to think now after going to Cabo, I was like, Cabo's a great vacation. I usually don't like going to places where you see a lot of Americans because then you feel like you're there. But you just got to ignore all that and see like what you want. If you want the beach view and the beach and the pool and the hot sun and the beautiful margaritas and just, you're there with your lady, it's like, you could spend more money on the luxury of it than the flights. Because a 2-hour flight, it's just a 2-hour flight. That's not going to be that expensive, And even if you just want to fly like economy plus, you could spend even more money on the resort. This particular resort we were at, pricey as a mother. It was pricey as a mug, man. Okay? But it was worth it. But because we were on a destination wedding thing, the wedding package didn't include meals, so we also had to pay for meals. This vacation was expensive. I'm just telling you right now, it was expensive. I actually wasn't prepared for how expensive it was, but I knew it. We went early because I said, this will be our vacation. And I wish I had gone even earlier and really enjoyed it. So when you're thinking about vacations, guys, you got to take all that into account. Like some people are like, they don't care what their room is like. They could be in a cheap room because they're going to go do all the stuff. I'm not like that. I like my room to be fancy because I want to just be in the room and just chilling. Because it takes me like 2 or 3 days to feel like I'm on vacation, to turn my brain off, stop thinking about work, stop thinking about my podcast, stop thinking about gaming, stop thinking about like, what do I got to do next to pay rent or all this kind of stuff. It takes me a couple of days where I'm just like sitting here. So top of day 3, we're just sitting on the beach at, one of these, whatever those things are called. We got an umbrella, Rachel's getting seashells and I'm just sitting there and I was like, damn, this is, I wasn't thinking about anything. And I was like, now I'm on vacation. So, you got to determine all that kind of stuff. Because I used to think I want to go to like Tahiti. I want to go to like, let me go furthest away from the United States as possible just so I could be on some exotic beach. But I'm telling you, there's some beautiful beaches and stuff right close by. Maybe even in the United States. There might be a great like private resort in Miami or someplace in Florida or someplace, on whatever the coasts are. I got to start looking into it. But anyways, the point is, I'm not trying to make people feel bad who don't got any money at all. I'm just saying find something that's affordable for you, but save up for it, Even if you can only save up $1,000 all year and this is your vacation money, find something. Even if it's like going to Disneyland and you find a great room for 3 nights and you get meals and you're just enjoying Disneyland with your or whatever it is. It could be like, oh, we're going to go to Newport Beach and we'll find some hotel in Newport Beach that's real swanky and make a vacation of it. But it's all about a mindset. So I do encourage that. So we went to this wedding, Adam Devine, he's an A-list star. You know what I mean? So this was a fancy ass resort. I'm not going to be, I used to think like, you hear the thing, comics always talking about destination weddings. They're like destination weddings. It's like that old joke, like if you do it in Chris Rock style, you know what I mean? I'm actually the complete opposite. I love a good destination wedding. After going to this destination wedding, I was like, I'm all about going to somebody's destination wedding because you just turn it into a vacation. Now, let me tell you the best part. We were at a place that it's like I said, this is Adam Devine, okay? Like Rebel Wilson was there, the Green Day drummer was there. You know what I mean? Like this was like there was agents and people that he's known his life. I mean, it was fancy. It was a fancy wedding. The room was $1,000 a night, okay? But because you got the wedding discount, it was 50% off. So, like, I don't know if I would normally go to a resort for that price, but I was able to go at this price, 50% off. And I was able to enjoy with my lady all of the stuff, you know what I mean? So there was more money to be able to be spent, the vacation savings of like, we got massages, which was like $600 for both of us. It was crazy. Every meal was expensive. But you know what? I was like, this was a beautiful vacation. I almost feel like I want to look at the registry of this place and see who's doing their wedding there, like in 6 months. And then I need to like hit those people up on Instagram and start befriending them so I can get that wedding discount to go back. You know what I mean? So I love destination weddings. Like I say, it really was a good time. You know what I mean? Like we really had a good time. There was like this other really beautiful picture, of the beach here, just like, oh, look at that. Just, oh, look at her. Look at her. Just Rachel was just standing on the beach looking out. It really was a beautiful time. So, I suggest you make time for a vacation, guys. Find a way. You can find a way. So as you save up from now, if you go, I want to go on a vacation in 9 months. Even if you're going to tell yourself, take 2 years, open a savings account or get a jar that you just have that you keep under your sink. Just put the money away. Tell yourself every time you get a $10 bill, if you have a $10 bill in your purse or wallet, take that $10 bill out and put it in the jar. Something like that. I had a buddy of mine said he did that. He was in a relationship and they did that. They just took, and then after a while, they ended up, after a year, they looked in the jar and they had enough money for a really nice vacation. So I don't know what your thing is. Whatever you can afford. If it's $20 a month, then put $20 a month away. Find a way to save up for vacation for your own mental health. That's really, what I suggest. All right. So find a way to do that, man. All you guys. And so, we had a really good time. The wedding was beautiful. It was such a spectacular setting. And then they had all their wedding vows. Rachel was crying the whole time and I teared up, and it was also funny. Adam Ray, my comedian buddy, Adam Ray, I've been on his podcast. He's been on mine. He was the officiant of the wedding, and he did such a great job that a bunch of people were like, "Hey, dude, can you do my wedding?" It was he did a great job. It was heartfelt. It was funny. Just the setting was just, I can't tell you enough. So anyways, there was that. All right, so let's get into this though. So when we coming back, even going and coming back from the wedding, I realized something. Guys, Uber and Lyft, they're done. Okay? Can we talk about this? Can we talk about Uber and Lyft and all ride sharing apps? I need to talk about this right now. What happened? They done, man. They are done. Okay, so when we were going to the airport, it was early in the morning flight. So, and I live like 10, 15 minutes from the airport. I'm on the west side of LA. So it may have cost like $32 or something like that to get to the airport, right? And in that hour, it was easy. Someone was available. They got there in 7 minutes. We got to the airport. But coming back on a Sunday at a certain time of day, man, I'm trying to get a Lyft, and then it's $80. $80. Hold up. Pump the brakes. What happened? It was supposed to be Lyft and Uber and these kind of ride-sharing apps. The point of it was convenience and cost. I mean, it used to be you'd be like, damn, it's only $15 to get from point A to point B. That when you get into a cab, the cab might be, $28 or $25, whatever it is. And so that's the reason why you were doing it. They running a game on us now. Those days are done, man. They are done. It was $80 to get from LAX to where I live. $80. And I hear everybody talking about this now. Everybody's like, damn, what's up with the Uber prices? It's hard to get Uber. You know what? Get a cab. We hopped into a cab right at the airport, and it was way cheaper it was like a third of the price that Uber and Lyft were asking for the same ride. So what's the point of using them? Like, I don't get the point of using them. And by the way, there are so many apps right now that you could just call a cab. Just call a cab with these apps. Curb, Taxi Cab, Hail. There's so many of these apps now. I'm about that now. Because if it's going to be around the same price, at least these people are professional. Like, I don't know what happened throughout the pandemic and all that. So maybe it's the same thing. The service industry has been decimated. People don't want to do that job anymore. The people that were like, first of all, a lot of people that were driving Uber and Lyft, they didn't want to have regular jobs anyway. So there are people that take it serious that were making good money doing that because they took it serious like a job, like a cab driver. It's a job. It's a profession. So they took it as such, and they were like, "Oh, this is great." And there are some people who were just like, "I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I want to work on my own schedule." And they did this, and they just kind of were like, "Okay, I'll do it sometimes." But they don't necessarily take it serious, or they didn't think of it like a profession or a real job or career. They just were doing it because they were down on their luck, or so they don't really have respect for the job. All those type of people that were doing it, they got their free money from the government. So they were like, why do I want strangers in my car? Why do I want to put wear and tear on my car when I can get this? So now there's no drivers. You know what I mean? There's nobody driving. You can't get a driver, or it's like they hit you with this like surge fees. Oh, it's so busy. They think they're the only game in town. Quiet as it's kept, man. Get a cab. I'm telling you. You search for a taxi right these days and look at the price. It seems to be comparable, but at least these people are professional. You know what I mean? It's a real, so I don't know. I flipped it because before I used to be like, I'm not doing cabs anymore. They act like they're doing you a favor. It's dirty. I used to have all these things about like why I didn't want to get into a cab. Now I'm like, we can't even get an Uber or Lyft or whatever. And then you guys go on your phone right now and look up just go ride share in your apps, a thing. And you will see that there are actually tons of ride sharing services that are out there, but just Uber and Lyft are the main ones. You know what I mean? They're just the main ones. But I don't know if this going to last because it's a racket. You know what I mean? It really is a racket now. Because you're sitting there, you think this is the only game in town, and you look at the thing and you go, oh man, like I want to be more comfortable in the back of a Corolla as opposed to the back of like most likely a Prius cab, right? There's no difference. You know what the difference now is? The cab is reliable and the cab is cheaper. So you guys, I'm telling you out there right now, if you're somebody that Ubers and Lyfts all the time, you might want to look into checking the prices of a cab. Like just grab a cab app and start comparing. Because I do that anyway with Uber and Lyft. I go, okay, Lyft is $80. Let me go check Uber. $75. And then they have this other thing, like at the airport at LAX, you could get Uber Black. So like if you get an Uber Black, they let the Uber Black people pick you up at the terminal, right? So I was like, all right. It looked like it was like the same price because of the surge pricing. The Uber Black, I couldn't even get one. Like there's like the people that drive Uber Black now, they not even doing it as much anymore. The people that got like a pseudo fancy car that they're using for Uber Black, you can't even get it. So it just was like we're sitting there waiting 20, 30 minutes and I'm like, what is this? So we just walked over to the other area and we got into a cab. And then when I saw the price difference, I was like, well, I'm done. That's it. Sorry, they lost my business. It's like it used to be this cool, convenient thing that the main point of it was convenient and most importantly, it was affordable. More affordable than, say, taking a cab. Those days are done. It's limited now. I just think that, Uber and Lyft, y'all got a ways to go, man. A ways to go. So that's my bitching with Griffin rant about that. Oh, by the way, something else that I thought about in terms of something being a racket? You know what I think's a racket too, guys? Destination weddings, by the way. Like I said earlier, I want to go on destination weddings. I love them. But I think it's also a racket. And I'm going to tell you why. So you take someone like, a famous person like Adam or, somebody that's lives a good lifestyle, blessed life. So they can go to a fancy place like this and be like, hey, I want to have my wedding. But man, he also had to pay for the wedding. That's a racket. I'm going to tell you why. He had like 100 people at his wedding, maybe more. So that's maybe like 60 groups. You know what I mean? It was maybe like, because some people came by themselves, because their significant other was busy or whatever it is like that, And then there was, you had extra people there. So you had like 60 groups, let's say, right? Even if it was 50 groups. People are staying 3-4 days. Just for the rooms alone, it's like 2,000, let's say minimum 2,000 per group for just the hotel. The food, guys. If you stay in that long, the only place you can eat is at the hotel. Let me just tell you, that it's another $1,500 to $2,000, okay? If people getting massages, whatever the stuff, they're buying drinks, all the stuff they were doing. So you're talking about per group, it was probably an average of like $4,000, okay? This resort they probably made $200,000 to $250,000 off this wedding and charged them for the wedding. What? That sounds like a racket to me. Because to me, it seems like you should go to the people and be like, okay, if I have 100 people at the wedding should cost this amount. If I have 200 people, it should even be less amount. Because the place is making all this money off your wedding. I don't know. What y'all think of that? Tell me in the comments. All right, next. What else did I want to talk about today? Oh, I wanted to talk about this situation with John Gruden. You guys know who that is? He is the Las Vegas Raiders head football coach. He signed a 10-year, $100 million deal. It's been an iffy so far. He won a Super Bowl way back in the day, and he was out of football for a while because he was just an analyst. Well, recently a email surfaced from him from 2011 where he sent an angry email, and in his email he was making some very sort of derogatory comments towards a black executive. Okay, and now it's 11 years later, it's come out, and now he's getting dragged. Okay, how do I feel about this? It's layered. Two things, all right? First of all, I want to say, like, a lot of people say things in private that, like, as a comic, I say things to other comics. Like, if you heard me and Andrew Santino, if we were ever recorded some of the things we say, it's terrible. And I think we all have been in this situation, where you have, but here's the thing. When that private conversation goes public, you do have to answer for it if you've made people feel bad. Like, you can say, hey, it wasn't my intentions, it wasn't this and that, but it is what it is. Now that it's out, you have to answer for that. Now, how someone should be punished or whatever, that is neither here nor there. I guess it just depends on case by case. It depends on what the perceived intent is or whatever it is like that, But I have no problem with people having to answer for things that they've done. It just depends on what is the severity of like what the punishment should be. And I think that goes too far sometimes. You're looking at somebody's tweet. Like they tweeted when they were in high school. They tweeted something 15, 20 years ago. And, or they just tweeted something when they were like really stupid, from the ages of 13 to 18, they said something. So now, you idiots think that they should lose their whole life for something that they said before, as if there's no growth, as if there's no, yes, it's like answer for it. But I don't know if people should lose their life and livelihood over something that they said when they were stupid. At any age, really. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I don't think we are our best moments or we are our worst moments. Was this John Gruden's worst moment? I don't know. It ain't a good look, I'll tell you that. Being a Caucasian male football coach in a predominantly black sport, you have to walk into that locker room and now answer for this thing that's out there. They got to look at you and be like, yo, what was that about? And whatever relationship he has with them, he'll be able to determine that. But the court of public opinion, they're going to be like, hey, man, are you a racist? And that's the thing. Do I think he's a racist? Do I think someone's a racist because they say a racist comment? No. I think there has to be a pattern of behavior in their quiet moments, not their extreme moments, in their quiet moments. What do I mean by that? Extreme moments are similar to trolls. Like these trolls in the comments. When people troll and they say something really like outlandish, well, they think that of themselves, because now they're thinking, well, no one cares about me or what I say, so I can say something stupid and racist. It's never going to come back to me, because they don't care. They think they don't really think highly of their life. That's why they say dumb shit on the internet. Like they don't think they're like some of the things these trolls say to me in the comments and even DMs. If their boss of their company saw that, they might say something. They might think, oh, what's up with this? Why'd you say that? That seems kind of stupid and rude and ignorant, But, the trolls, they don't even think past that, because they don't even think anything of their life. They don't think highly enough of their life and character to think that saying this publicly is inappropriate. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? So that's a troll mentality, and we all have it. We all have a troll mentality that also, in the instance of the troll mentality, you say the worst thing you possibly can say, and you always start with looks. Like a lot of troll comments I get, like when I'm gaming, and then I say something to these idiots in the chat, then they go to the same jokes always. Oh man, you're 50 playing video games. You're fat. You're ugly. You're this, they always go to those things they think. I don't always get race first because I'm mixed. I'm not traditionally anything. So that's not the first thing you go with. But that is an instinct that people go with too. When people say like, they'll be like, oh, if you're in your car, you'll be like, oh, you see a driver and you'll be like, you go to the worst possible things. Oh, it's a woman, that stupid woman, Asian, whatever you might say. You say these things. That's your stupid troll. That's your dumb troll mentality. We all have it. We say the dumbest, stupidest things that we visually see. And then now, does that make you a misogynist or you hate women or, you're racist or I don't know. I think it has to be a pattern of behavior. And I think it has to be in your quiet moments. So not your troll excessive. Like this guy was upset. John Gruden was upset and he wrote a disparaging email in hate. Like he was upset and he wrote this thing. Do I think he's a racist? I don't know him well enough to know that. There are people that are coming out on both sides saying like they don't think he's a racist. He's a nice man. And there's other people saying like, he had like some stuff. So we have to wait and see. Now, what I mean by quiet moments is somebody's racist not when they're angry, not when they're super upset, not when they're heightened, just when they're just living steady. If somebody says some racist stuff when they just living steady, that's when they're a racist, Like there's nothing inspiring it. There's nothing poking them. They're not heightened. They just in a restaurant and they look over and say like, what is this N-word doing here? Or just in casual conversation, they're like, well, Jews. You know what I mean? Just if you say, you know what I mean? It's that kind of stuff. I have an example that I performed comedy in Syria. I was one of the first comedians to perform comedy in Syria when it was open. I remember I'll never forget this. I'm at this sort of after party, and we're at this private thing and these people from there, they're just talking. And in the casual conversation, they said like the most anti-Semitic, like it was so casual. Well, that's, it was like whatever they were saying that it would be like, well, the Jews caused that, well, it's because of the Jews. It's just the way they said it. I was like, ooh, it made me so like tensed up, but I was like, let me not, you know what I mean? I need to get out of this place. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I didn't co-sign, but I just was like listening like, okay, wow, here we are. That's when it gets you, like at a cocktail party and people are just holding their drinks and they're just like, well, the blacks. That's when somebody's racist because it's casual. It's just in their thought process. I don't necessarily think that this email that this guy sent was in that vein. I think he was mad. He called the commissioner. He called the person dumb, and said something else about the commissioner. And he penned an email he shouldn't have penned. Like he should have reread that and been like, "Ooh, I probably shouldn't say this." And he could be racist for all we know. I don't know. But it's like if you're racist. I find it hard to be like that means he loves money more than he loves money more than he is racist because he went into a business that he has to work with a lot of black people and he's highly paid. So if he's racist and he hates black people, he loves money more than he hates black people. Why would he put himself in that situation? I don't know. That's just the age-old question. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who work with the thing that they're racist towards too. I know that. I get it. I'm just saying it's like what a dilemma, right? So it's like hard to like imagine. So I don't know, man. I just think that I don't think you should be judged on your worst moments, but after something like this surfaced, you do got to kind of take a look and be like, well, let's see now. So he does have some things to answer for, but I don't think he should be fired. I don't think he wasn't even working for the Raiders at the time. This was 11 years ago. How has he lived his life since? You know what I mean? Have we heard about incidents like this before? But it's just one of these things. It's a bad look. The optics aren't good, and we're living in a climate right now where we are really thinking about diversity, and we're thinking about how we treat each other. And in a professional setting like that, it's difficult to not think like that. I don't want to be a person that thinks like that. I don't go to racism first on anything. Easier for me too, because, I've lived a blessed life, but not always, man. I've experienced some racist moments. I've experienced things, I've felt the hardships of not being a person, not being the most attractive person in the room. I think there's prejudice in that. I think that I've experienced prejudice of being like a person of color, and like even in a person where they don't even know what I am, trying to figure out like what to even do with me, so I've experienced that stuff. But at the same time, I also can look at things with a common sense approach and be like, I also see the business side of it too. There's business in like, whatever the choice might be. It's not always because of race. It's not always because of, misogyny or whatever the thing that people put out there. It's like with like comedy, it's like you think like, oh, they're not booking women because they're women or whatever it is. And that's not the first thing I look at. I don't think that's the factor, because it's so funny when a lot of the bookers at these clubs are women, So it's like, it's weird to me. I look at it and they go, for them, it's also a business. It's like, who's selling tickets? Who's putting butts in the seats? And it's so much ain't just about being funny anymore that, that it like you kind of think that you go to these comedy clubs and you think that comedy clubs are cultivating comedy. You think that they're going like, well, these are the 17 funniest people we think are coming through our building that we want you to see. It's not like that anymore. It's about, they are putting up people you want to see. Who do you want to see? Like we spend a lot of time blaming the clubs, or even like network television. We spend all this time blaming network television, like they're only showing us white. I think that they're doing research and they're going like, you only want to see white. They're showing you what you want to see. So, I think that's a portion of it. I think it's like when you have to look at the whole layer. I don't think we could jump to any conclusion. I don't think we could jump to like I'm not saying that it's always a business choice. I'm not saying that either. My stance isn't ultimate either, because that's not my complete stance. I'm saying it's case by case, and you have to look at all the factors, and that's hard for people to do because people want to jump to a conclusion. They want to say it's because of this. They want it to be like, well, no, it's because, it's because of racism. It's because of sexism. It's because of ageism. People want it to be that because it makes sense. We can wrap our brain around that and be like, well, yeah, they're not booking this because of this reason. And I'm saying it's not always that reason. Even if it's a small part of it, even if there's, in some cases, I'm saying it could be a part of it, but that's not always the case. And I think we just got to step back and look at things and take a common sense approach. But, that's not the world we live in. And the internet doesn't lend itself to that. The internet is for sensational headlines. Twitter is just a headline to a news story. It's just a headline. Like the tweet would be what the headline would be. Then you got to delve into the details of the story to find out what's going on. But we don't read past the headline. That's all we are right now, is a headline society. And then you can say whatever you want in that headline. And then now we're sitting here like, damn, there's more to the story than this. But nobody really cares. And then it's so stupid that the next news cycle or the next headline comes out and we've forgotten about this cause that we had for like a hot second. So I think this John Gruden thing is a similar thing. But that being said, again, when you say something in private, when you say something in an email and you put some words down that can be misconstrued, or you put some words down that can clearly, someone can be like, well, you sound like a racist. Doesn't mean you're racist, but you sound like a racist, and and that goes public. Well, damn, you got to answer for that. You know what I mean? You got to be like, oh, listen, and how you answer for that, I think, will be a gauge of like what kind of person you are. But it's hard for all of us. I look back, I'm sure I've tweeted something or said something, and and as a comic, you have jokes. As a comic, you make jokes, and then people, they come at you, they go, oh man, you this is terrible what you said, then they judge you on your joke. They think because for a male comic, a lot of times it's you hate women, it's like if you have a joke about a woman, it means you hate women. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's just how it goes. But it doesn't even work the opposite. I mean, it's like, I've seen so many female comics trash men on stage. I mean, trash them. Nobody's like, oh, you hate men. That's not the first thing they jump to. We just laugh. A lot of times we just laugh. Oh, that's a funny joke, But for men, it's like, it's like, oh, you hate women. You know what I mean? So then it's like, well, you're 50% of the population. Can we, what are we supposed to talk about? You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's all in the approach. Speaking of jokes, here's a little thing I want to talk about now. This is a little delicate subject. This is personal to me. And I've been contemplating if I wanted to talk about this, but I will. So, I've been doing a joke now for about 3 years, maybe longer, because I know I did it in Canada like a year before the pandemic even hit. So I know I've been doing this joke for about 3 years. I do it at the Comedy Store all the time. I've been doing it on the road all the time. And I make the same reference that Chappelle makes in his new special, Impossible Pussy. That is a reference I've been making now for 3 years. So I just want to put this to rest. This is for my fans, not for Chappelle fans. Chappelle fans don't care about me. They don't know who I am. Anything he says becomes doctrine. Anytime Chappelle makes a reference, it now is that's Chappelle's, and no one else can come up with the same thing. And so I'm just letting you know it's something called parallel thinking with comics. If you're delving in the same subjects, if you could come to certain conclusions, and we came to the same conclusion. It's just parallel thinking. I in no way think Chappelle. I don't even travel in the same circles as Chappelle. So I've met him a few times. I've seen him at the Comedy Store a few times. I've been on stage. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen the dude around, but not like to the point where I'm in the same circles. He don't got my number. I don't got his. It's like that. This guy's one of the greats. I admire him. I admire the way his brain works. I admire his his bravery about tackling things. I'm not always a fan of how he puts things together. Like, I'm not a fan of him doing all these specials. I think that they're just, it's just like, he's just like, his fame is just gone to the point where he's like, well, let me put all this out. I think a lot of these things could have been taken some more time to them. Or what do I mean to say? Like, they don't all have to be like specials, They don't, so now, because there's a lot of comics talking about these issues. There's a lot of comics making fun and, making jokes about these things. So now Chappelle does it in 7 specials in 3 years. So now if you've been talking about any of those topics, all of a sudden now you can't talk about them because he did it. So now it's like, and he's the most famous comic with the most views on Netflix for his specials. So now these issues that he talks about, they belong to him according to the comedy court of public opinion. You know what I mean? And this has happened twice to me now with Chappelle. So anyways, that's when I'm just putting it out there, just being like, I have to now retire my joke. But I was proud of it. I thought it was really funny the way I did it. Yeah, I was going to show you me doing it, but I couldn't find a good, clip, because I don't record myself like that all the time. But I'm just going to tell you what it is. First of all, I went to Arizona in a tour when the pandemic was like, when things opened up again. And I went to Arizona, and I had these jokes where I'm trying to talk about transgender, and I felt like I was being supportive, but a transgender person or someone supportive of that with that to show tweeted at me, and they were so upset at me. I responded. It turned into a whole thing. I let it go, but it made me think, because a female friend of mine that was at the show, I said to her, I was like, this is ridiculous. She was like, well, she said to me, well, you did say you're only, the only ones you'll accept are the ones that are like, that you find attractive. And I was like, I didn't say that. That's not what I said. And then she said, well, that's what you inferred, right? And that made me think, and I was like, oh, you know what? I think we all do that. And then I actually since have changed my joke. I've changed it. I've made it about like, why are the ones we call brave only the ones that like are passable? These are the ones we're hyping up. The ones with money, the ones that are attractive. It's all about pretty privilege, I've changed the joke and I've made it about this, and I feel better about it. But anyways, coming to the joke about impossible pussy, my joke is, and I'm saying it on my podcast for my fans and the people that are hitting me up a lot. People that have seen me for 3 years and watched Chappelle's special are hitting me up. Comics I know are texting me like, yo, dude, did he buy that from you? And everybody's saying this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yo, no, I am not accusing Chappelle of anything at all. It's just parallel thinking. But he is way more famous than me. So that's now his reference. And I have to let it go, because if I do it anywhere else now, people are going to say, oh man, you stole that from Chappelle. So that's I'm putting the joke to rest. So anyways, so I'm talking about pretty privilege, and I'm talking about leading up to like normalizing gay, lesbian, and transgender. We have to normalize it. And I have some jokes about it. I'm making fun at the same time too. But I say, it should be like milk. Cause I think the transgender community needs a commercial. This is my joke. I say the transgender community needs a commercial like milk. Remember when milk was, it wasn't a company. It was just like drink milk. Cause they were like, we got to get this milk off the shelves, and it helps sell milk. So I was like, we need a commercial for transgender. It should be like Burger King. It'd be like Impossible Pussy. It looks and tastes like real pussy. And then there'll be testimonials. This ain't real pussy. That was my joke. It'd be like, you know what I mean? And that was my favorite part of it too, was when I say that. When I go, there'll be testimonials. This ain't real pussy. Shut up. This ain't. And then there'll be some guys that will be like, this ain't real pussy. But anyways, I'm butchering my own joke, but I'm just saying I did it differently. I felt my version was way more positive too. It just came off like, it was fun. It's a fun moment that I was doing. And I always got a great response because it's a funny joke. You know what I mean? I just think it's fun. I'm proud of it. I think it's funny. So Chappelle made the same reference, not in the same way. He just made the same word reference. He put the two words together, Impossible Pussy, making the reference that it's like fake meat, making that correlation. I heard Andrew Schultz say this on his podcast too, when he was talking about Elliot Page. He was talking about Elliot Page. He probably got that impossible meat. So when I heard Schultz do that, I was like, yeah, this is a reference that if you're a smart person and you like, delving into things and finding little correlations and little analogies to make your joke hit hard, exaggerated form of saying things, you could come up with the same reference to, and that's what happened. So I am no longer going to be making an Impossible Pussy reference. It was now retired, and it is what it is. I always tell young comics, my advice to you is do not fall in love with your material, because this is what happens. It's whoever gets it on TV first, it's their joke. It just is what it is. It's a long-standing rule, but there's so much. See, before it was easier because not everybody could get a special. Not everybody could be on TV. Not everybody can put their stuff on YouTube. You know what I mean? It just became a thing. So now I'm starting to think for myself too that I just need to start recording myself at shows, stop worrying about saving stuff for a special, and just put my comedy out there to be consumed, because then I would have had it. It would have been like a thing where I'd have been like, uh-oh, look at this, guys. I did this a long time ago. But this is for like I said, this is for my small fan base. I appreciate you guys that are hitting me up, because people have been hitting me up in the DMs going, yo, man, he doing your joke, that kind of thing. And I just want to put that to rest. That is not what happened at all. It's just parallel thinking. The guy's brilliant, and I feel proud that we came to the same thing. You know what I mean? I feel like, I'm a smart dude, man. You know what I mean? I'm common sense smart, and I also like pushing the envelope. If you've ever seen me live, I like pushing it. I like saying outlandish things because I want to see if I can make it funny. That's my goal. I want to see if I can make it funny. I want to see if my perspective about things, because I like to bitch about things, I like to complain about things. You guys know, because you're always telling me, stop complaining, Griffin. But I like to complain, and I like to make it funny. I think it's part of my brand. So when I talk about stuff, I might talk about a deaf person, and I'm going to try to make it funny. I might talk about a fat person. I'm going to try to make it funny. I'm going to try to make you understand that I don't hate these people. I'm just trying to make something funny. And I am sensitive to making it like palatable, almost sensitive to making it like, I don't want people to think I hate anybody. I don't want people to think that. So I don't necessarily change myself, but if enough people say, hey, you hate women or you hate this, I do take that in and be like, well, can I say this differently where they don't think I hate them? But that's the last thing I want to talk about with the Chappelle thing. I don't like the term transphobic. And I had to look it up, because at first to me, I was like, transphobic, does it mean like, so you're afraid of because I thought phobia was a fear, so it's like, so everybody I tell jokes about Does it mean I'm afraid of them? So if I talk about white people, does it mean I'm afraid of white people? That was my thought process at first. But then I looked up the joke. Not the joke. I looked up the Oxnard definition of transphobic, and it says dislike of or prejudice against transgender or transsexual people. Well, by definition, that definition makes sense. I just don't think that term lends itself to that being the correct definition of it. Because when you look up the word phobia, it means an extreme or irrational fear or aversion to something. So I don't think when somebody does a joke about a transgender person, they have an extreme or irrational fear. They just think this is funny. Now, they might have an aversion to it, but I don't necessarily think that's bad. You don't have to like everything somebody does. And, you make a joke about it because you have an aversion to it. That's why you're making the joke, because you don't understand. And that's the point of the humor. But this idea that, like, if you make a transgender joke, it means you dislike or you're prejudiced. I mean, come on, man. Everybody can be made fun of. Everybody can be made fun of. But so I understand, you could see, Chappelle's body of work of all these specials he's done for Netflix. If you want to come to the conclusion that you think he hates transgender people, as a comic, I don't think that. But also as a comic, I can see how, after a while you go, you still talking about this? You know what I mean? So you still going on. So I don't think he hates, but I understand why there are people that think, why are you still talking about this if you don't hate them? That's the conclusion they're jumping to. And I don't agree with it. And I don't like this language that's being used. I really don't. I don't like the term transphobic. I wish there was a different word for the dislike of prejudice against transgender or transsexual people. I wish there was a different word than using phobia. Because phobia, again, is, by Oxford definition, an extreme or irrational fear. An extreme or irrational fear. I don't think when you're making jokes about transgender people, I don't think you're fearful or hate. You just think it's funny. I mean, some of it's funny. You can find some funny in this. It's a matter of, like, are you being mean? Are you being insensitive? Which those things can be funny to some people. You just have to decide what kind of message you want to come across. I think the challenge I like to take on is, how can I make this not come across like I hate, but come across where you can understand the common ground of seeing the humor. I think that's the challenge of a great stand-up comedian, And so you just have to decide for yourself if you think people have pulled that off or not. All right. So, but again, once again, this was just for my fans. Impossible Pussy is now retired from my joke set. And I really just wanted to talk about it because, again, I thought it was, when I came up with that, I thought it was really funny. I was like, oh, that's funny. I got the analogy, and then I would worked on it to try to, let me find a way to make this fun. I don't want to come across whatever it is. I just think it's funny. It's a funny joke the way I did it. And for all the people that have seen me do that, thank you for sending me messages and thank you for watching. But I don't fall in love with my material. You know what I mean? We're done. So that's it for that. So thank you for the people hitting me up. You don't got to hit me up anymore. I know. You know what I mean? That's the other thing I'm saying too. I know. It's over. Okay. All right. Last thing I want to talk about is, guys, I was on a plane. And oh, wait. Oops. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I want. I didn't want to get rid of myself. What just happened right there? How did I do that? Oh, here I am, guys. So funny. Nope, not John Gruden. That's not what you wanted to. Come on, get there. Here it is. Yes, for the people listening, you don't know what's happening, but for the people watching, they're like, "What is he doing?" I'm a one-man show. I'm doing this. Again, I went on vacation, so when I came back, I couldn't link up with Wiggs. But shout out to Wiggy. Thanks for Wiggy's still involved, guys. Don't worry. I saw Fast and the Furious 9 on the plane, and I have to talk about it. We need to recap Fast and the Furious 9. This franchise is the most ridiculous franchise. Like, I can't suspend my. It's so campy and fun, by the way. I'm not saying like, oh, this is terrible, don't watch it. You just got to know you have a lot of suspense, of disbelief. Like, you have to suspend your disbelief when you watch this show, this movie, to the nth degree. So, first of all, let's recap. So, I don't even know what happened to 7 and 8, okay? And Charlize Theron's been in like 2 of them. Like, she's just some sort of like bag. I don't know what they leading up to, all right? And spoiler alert, guys, by the way, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it by now, I don't really care. You know what I mean? That was June 25th. If you haven't seen it, I don't care. This is some ridiculous stuff in this movie. Okay, so first the movie opens up. Like, first of all, how do street racers from East LA turn into international spies? So that's what's happened from 1 to 9. And apparently, you know, this street racer from East LA, I think they're from East LA, wherever they're from, but they like street racers, you know what I mean? Their father was, you know, all of a sudden he know people all over the world. Okay, he for some reason now he know people from all over the world, and he's some international spy. I don't know when this happened. Okay, I don't know when in the franchise he got his spy license. Okay, but that's where we're at now. So the movie opened up. You know, they actually on the run because I'm not sure if they're criminals or if they're like heroes. It's hard to tell. But they hiding. They got their kid, him and Michelle Rodriguez. I think that's her name. You know, they're they in this on a farm someplace trying to live a normal life. You know what I mean? So, you know, and they got the kid. They named him Brian after the guy. You know, R.I.P. to Paul Walker. You know, so they're like, you know, they making reference to his character. You know what I mean? So, you know, that is what it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you got Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel. You know, they living in this like, you know, thing, you know. So then, of course, some people come. The rest of the crew comes. Tyrese and Ludacris, you know, who are hilarious. You know, they come and they're like, yo, man, we got a mission. So apparently in this thing, there's like some device that Mr. Nobody, who's played by Kurt Russell? I forget who Mr. Nobody is played by. Mr. No, I'm looking at the thing right now. Because there's so many people that have been in the movies. Whoever, one of the Russells. I think it is Kurt Russell. He's Mr. Nobody, some like spy person. You know what I mean? So he's like, you know, I don't know if he was a bad guy or a good guy. I don't know what the hell happened. So they come. So they got this new mission. Vin Diesel, he don't want to go. You know what I mean? He's like, I got to take care of the kid, and this is my life. Michelle Rodriguez is like, I live fast and furious, so I'm going. So then, like, you know, Dom sees a picture, and he sees like a necklace that it looks like his necklace, and this makes him decide to go. So now you get this backstory. So in these like 9 movies, in the 8 movies previous, we didn't know he had a brother. So all of a sudden now he's got a brother. And anytime somebody has a brother, it's an evil brother, and it's played by John Cena, who's supposed to be his younger brother. But John Cena looked like 7 years older than Vin Diesel. Okay, so I was already out on that. So suspend your disbelief with that. So now this is the brother. So now they set it up where you know the brother, you know, he a bad guy. So now they all in the jungle. So they go to the jungle someplace in like South America or wherever the hell they are. And he got a Camaro or a Dodge. Like he got some fancy car, some fast car. Like this ain't a good jungle vehicular choice. This car he got in the jungle. You know, she got a motorbike. Tyrese got some kind of like armored camper with all kinds of dumb stuff on it. And the other, they got like an SUV. I'm like, what? How they get these cars here? You know what I mean? Was there some dealership? I don't know if they brought them in this like carrier, and I don't know how they got a carrier, a military grade carrier all of a sudden, because they got these international spy connections. So you already like, how's all this happening? And so then, you know, they have to fight an army who can't shoot. It's like the A-Team from the 80s. Nobody with guns can hit anything. Like they shooting right at Tyrese and they don't hit him. And then he all of a sudden kills like 25 people. You know what I mean? And then like this army is chasing them. So now they in the jungle, you know, and then there's like gunships. These gunships, again, the training of these peoples that's flying these gunships, not very good because they shooting missiles and can't hit these cars. Oh, by the way, they also driving through a minefield. And then Dom says, how fast do we have to drive to avoid these mines? And so they have some calculation because they got this cute British girl who's like a expert in math, and Ludacris is another like mechanical expert. So they're like, we got to go 80 miles per hour, which is like ridiculous. So the bombs are blowing up. They're not blowing up the car. The rockets are shooting from the helicopter. They're not blowing up the car. So they sort of escape. And Michelle Rodriguez got the device. So there's this device that has two parts. And this is the whole plot of the movie where they have to like get this device because this device can control all computers or some nonsense like that. And they have one half of the device, so now they're being attacked, and then the device falls out of the the back of the bike. And oh yeah, by the way, she like gets hit by a car and she flies 30 feet in the air. And then Vin Diesel always does this thing where he catches people on the hood of his car like the motherfucker's made of a mattress, So she flies 30 feet in the air and falls on an iron car, like a car hood, and just like, oh, thank you. Thanks for catching me. Like he's an outfielder for the New York Yankees. Like it's so ridiculous. You know what I mean? So all these people in this movie never get hurt. That's another thing that I find so ridiculous. So now he sees that it's his brother in this Jeep, which is a better jungle vehicular choice, by the way. So the brother, kudos to him already. He not driving a freaking Ford Mustang. He driving a car that you should drive in the damn jungle. Okay? So now they trying to chase him. Now this is when now there's the missiles are coming and the army's trying to stop both of them. So now a plane is coming and they headed towards a cliff, right? A plane is coming and then the plane opens up a crane and then John Cena presses like the nitro on his car and he does a big jump over a whole crater out into nothing, and then the plane swoops down and grabs him and he flies off. Really? Okay. Because apparently they got some super powerful magnet. All right. So that's already ridiculous. So now Vin Diesel got to get away. And this bridge is like this little suspension bridge that you can't drive a car on. But he figures out how to do it. So he hits the nitro in his car. This is like later after a lot of chasing and whatever. You know what I mean? And he somehow he hits the edge of the bridge and it catches on his tire. And the car, this is so stupid. The car gets swung out into nothing, into above this big crater, and flies him over to the other side, where the car crashes and tumbles like 10 times. The car is ruined, and then it lands on its wheels, and he's just like this. Whoo, you know what I mean? He don't get hurt, and he always got a tank top on too. By the way, no scratches or bruises. He was in a terrible wreck. The gunships, now he's in like U.S. territory, or, these gunships can't get him, so he's safe. So now, now the whole thing is about him and his brother are chasing after the same device. Dom's supposed to be the good guy. John Cena's character is the bad guy. And now it's this whole thing. And then now, they in London. You know what I mean? Like they go to London and then, there's this standoff between him and his brother where you get all the exposition of why they hate each other, because Dom thinks the brother killed the father at a racetrack and it's all this nonsense, and he banished him from the thing. And so now, they get him arrested by Interpol. The other bad guy with John Cena, his father's a dignitary or something like that. So he has, he's in with Interpol. So, 10 soldiers come and take Dom in the back of a truck. But then all the soldiers take off their hoods. They take off their masks, and it's all beautiful ass chicks. And they're led by Cardi B. Even when you say it out loud, it sounds so ridiculous. So they led by Cardi B. Cardi B. So this Puerto Rican chick is in London, and she runs some kind of spy organization. But this is just that moment where it's like, let's get Cardi B in a movie, right? So you're like, okay. So Dom somehow gets away, So now they go. So now cut to, they got these magnets again. So the bad guys got these magnets. These magnets, super powerful magnets that can EMP, all the equipment. And so John Cena is able to steal the other device. You know what I mean? Now, his escape route is he don't want to escape in a car. Okay. He's escaping by harpoon gunning himself from building to building. And the harpoon guns are set up already in like 5 or 6 buildings. And Vin Diesel, by the way, who's now in London, but he has his car. He has his famous car from the whole series is now in London with him, and he driving around in this car. How the hell he get this car to London? And why did he bring this car to London? Like, it's not the Batmobile. What's the point of having this car in London? It didn't make any sense to me. I couldn't get past that. Like, why is this car in London? So he sees what his brother's doing, and he like runs up to the building, and as his brother is, on this zip line, going from building to building on a zip line, which don't make no sense. Why don't you just get in the car and drive the hell out of the city? But okay, he want to zip line from building to building. Vin Diesel jumps out of a window, catches him on the zip line, and they crash through another window. And then they have this incredible fight where nobody gets hurt. Vin Diesel's head crashes through some stuff. He should have been knocked out. John Cena punches through a wall. His arm should have been broken. And they have this ridiculous fight. He throws him out the window, and they both land on a car again, which cars, for some reason, in the movie series are soft, and they land, and nothing happens to them. Then there's an incredible car chase. Now, the pretty British girl, for some reason, she's never driven a car, so she got to get into a stick shift truck. She's never driven before, just got her license, or don't even have a license. Now, she all of a sudden, Fast and Furious driver, and she got to chase through this city, crashing through cars, and then she turns on this powerful magnet, and for some reason this magnet is like pulling some things but not other things, and that magnet was a whole throughout the movie, which was like ridiculous. They're trying to say, why is this magnet so powerful? I don't know. So then they catch John Cena with the magnet. His car comes flying through a building and crashes into the car because the truck because the magnet got it. So now they got him captured. Okay, so now he's captured, and then you learn why they hate each other more, and they have the exposition. But then the army comes, the bad guys come to rescue John Cena, and then now Vin Diesel is all of a sudden Superman. He's taking on 25 dudes at once, and he's like doing like, and he's like pulling the roof down. it's like, what? How is he stronger than everybody? There's 25 guys. When did he take some, like, it's not even a superhero movie where he got bit by a spider. For some reason, he's stronger than everybody, and he falls down into like a well, you know what I mean? And while he's in this well, he has a flashback and realizes that his brother didn't kill their father, and he like redeems him in his mind, and you know what I mean? So now it's the big chase. By the way, cut to Charlize Theron is like, she's still in the movie, and I don't understand why. She trapped in a box and just like being a bad bitch, you know what I mean? And then like, I guess she like seduces the other stupid bad guy so they can be together. Cause and they set it up, Vin Diesel says to his brother, are you sure you could trust these guys? So that like put the seed in your head of like, oh, they gonna get back together. And of course, John Cena gets double teamed. Then you see that truck right there? This truck right here, you can see if you're watching on YouTube. So this big truck. And so now they've stolen both merchandise, both parts of this thing that can control all the fucking computers. Okay, cut to Michelle Rodriguez and the other girl, whatever her name is. Let me look for her name. Jordan. She plays Mia. Jordana, they beautiful, and they go to Tokyo because they got some clue from Mr. Nobody. And then the Asian guy that got blown up 2 movies ago, he didn't really die because Mr. Nobody saved him. And he also raised this girl who's a badass ninja. So these 3 girls beat up all these guys. I don't got a problem with that in movies. I can suspend my disbelief enough where it's like, yes, this beautiful model chick who's 110 pounds can beat up a grown-ass man, 10 grown-ass men. Okay. I don't care about that. You suspend your disbelief in that. I've already given myself over to that. I don't care. So they have this big fight. They beat everybody up. Then you get the story of like why he's connected and how he survived, which is all ridiculous. So now, now they got to stop. So now for some reason, there's a satellite being launched into the sky. So they also cut to these 3 nerds are in the movie, and they have a Pontiac Fiero that they put a rocket on, and they doing some dumb experiments. I don't know why they were in the movie, just to show that they had this rocket ship or whatever they were trying to build. It's going to be important later. So now there's a satellite that's going into the sky that this device is going to control every computer in the world. So they're going to run the world. So they have to stop that device from uploading, and they got to stop this satellite. So somehow they have some military grade plane that they put a Pontiac Fiero on the roof with a rocket on it, and they launch it into space. So Tyrese and Ludacris are now in space in a Pontiac Fiero that's got a rocket on it. So they gonna go stop the satellite. So they're now space travelers. So they're in space. Okay. And then while this big bus is crashing through Europe, and of course they turn on John Cena, so now he becomes a good guy, and then there's this whole big ridiculous car crash chase scene, drone rocket ship thing where once again Dom John Cena goes flying off the truck, and then Vin Diesel catches him on the hood of his car again, the mattress hood, and everything's okay. And then, of course, they save the day. Absolutely ridiculous. It's, I watched it from beginning to end because it is what it is. It's fun, it's campy, but it is the most ridiculous. I just... It is the most ridiculous. Look, if you like me recapping movies like this, I will be more than happy to to do it again. I mean, other movies that have already come out, or whatever it is. But this was just, it was just so, I don't even know, guys. You know what I mean? It's so nonsensical that, and by the way, it's going to keep going because Charlize Theron survives at the end of the movie. You think she dies because you think she's flying this plane that is trying to blow up Vin Diesel. And then you see a moment where he somehow figures out how to get in this truck that's tumbling. You know what I mean? They had magnets in the car that somehow turned the truck over, but it's still going 100 miles an hour down our street on its back, and it's tumbling, and Dom gets in, and he, now he's controlling it, he's driving it, then he finds a way to turn it, and then, at a cliff where this drone plane is coming, where you think she's flying it, and then things go flying in the air, then, it blows up the plane and the truck, and he lands Superman position outside the truck, whoo, did that. So it was just what? And then, of course, you find out it's a drone, and she comes walking out the drone thing and she survives. So that means there's going to be part 10. Part 10. What this movie is missing, honestly, in the beginning of the movie is previously on Fast and the Furious. So we can get caught up as to what's going on, who's who, why is this happening? You know what I mean? Just give me a previously on, and then I'll be able to be follow this. But Fast and the Furious is the most campy, ridiculous franchise for it to still be going. Because also Helen Mirren shows up out of nowhere, who's this international British thief, and she knows Dom. How do they know each other? You know what I mean? When did he have time to meet international spies and international thieves and stuff when he was a mechanic and race car driver in East LA? Somebody explain it to me. But anyways, I will be watching part 10 because at this point, I got to know how this ends. I got to know what's going on in this ridiculous franchise. All right, guys. This has been another episode of Riffin with Griffin. I want to thank you for being here. Once again, make sure you check me out on Twitch, Erik Griffin Gaming. I do that daily. This has been episode 155. Thanks for being here. As always, I appreciate your support, and I will see you next week.